Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about 17's Ready to Love, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics and the music video to see what they can tell us about the concept and its possible connections to the Hype multiverse. Ready to Love is a song co-composed by Yuji and co-written by Yuji, S-Coups and Mingyu that talks about a person falling in love with a friend and confessing them that they love them without fear and without shame. Now, much like what the boys themselves have explained during the press conference, this is a song that is meant to explore a type of love that is more mature in comparison to the ones that they talked about up until now. It's about the courage of professing their love with confidence and about them being ready to embrace this new feeling by accepting all sides of it unconditionally, and as it turns out, this concept is at the core of the album as a whole. Much like it was anticipated in the Power of Love concept trailer, this is an album that heavily relies on empathy and on the universality that this feeling actually implies. As they told us in that video, all of us need love. Love is a light that shines in our life, it's a miracle that can make it better and something that is able to find anyone everywhere, so all of us can relate to this feeling because it's something that unites us all. Even if all of us can understand this emotion, however, love is something that can take different shapes and that people can experience in different ways. So in the album we can find stories about different types of love that are meant to explore the complexity of this powerful feeling. Throughout the songs, love is portrayed in many ways. It can be light and delicate like a cloud, wild and freeing like a wave, it's an illusion that comforts us in a dream, but also a reality that 17 cannot let go, and this duality is conveyed in Ready to Love as well. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a song that talks about a platonic love that is slowly changing into a romantic feeling, and this transformation is portrayed as an event that in many respects changes their perception of reality. In the lyrics, for instance, the love that they're singing about is causing them a reaction that is very much real and physical. They mention the feeling of being out of breath and their heart beating so fast that they never thought it could race this much, but in the video we also see them wandering in a dreamlike world where this love is almost perceived as an ideal fantasy that they get lost in. In this fantasy, we see the emotions conveyed in the lyrics written all over the buildings that surround them, and these visuals imply that this is a love that essentially defines their world. Now, this is an idea that is also conveyed later on, because in the scene with Jungkook, D8, and June, we also see them touching a rotating structure that looks like a planet. This might be an indication that ever since their friend came into their life, their world is filled with love. This person has become the center of their attention, and the boys orbit around it like satellites that cannot get away from it. But even if they're dependent on this love, the boys accept this dependence because this love also gives them purpose. Now, this is an essential concept to understand because them seeing love as their purpose also implies that when the relationship with this friend started to change, the boys started to change and mature along with it, and in the video this concept is portrayed since the very beginning. In the opening scene, for instance, we see the boys walking up to a giant white cat as the image of the girl that they love overlaps with their faces. This is the friend that the boys are in love with. She is the subject of the dream of love that is referenced on the wall, and the presence of the white cat foreshadows their intention of changing their relationship as a result of their love getting stronger. You see, in dreams, the white cat can symbolize hope, affection, as well as rebirth, and these are all feelings that the boys are experiencing during this dream, because even if they're ready to love, they still don't know if the other person is ready as well. Now, this feeling of uncertainty is also portrayed in the lyrics, because even if the boys are confident in their love, the song also tells us that the other person is the one who has to tell them if they can be together. As the title of the album foreshadows, the final choice is theirs, but this change initially starts from the boys themselves, who decide to confess their love, knowing full well of the risk that they're taking. If the girl has to choose whether to accept this love or not, the boys have to choose to confess it first, and in the video we see exactly that. In the very next scene, for instance, we see Wonho standing in front of two telephone booths. The green one symbolizes friendship, while the pink one represents love, and as the video cuts to Mingyu, we see him choosing the pink one and making the phone call that will change their relationship forever. Now, this scene might actually be a reference to Bittersweet, where Wonho and Mingyu were part of a love triangle in which the two of them were in love with the same girl. Back in that video, the subject of their affection was a friend that both of them actually loved, and if in Ready to Love we see that Mingyu is the one making the call, back then the video seemed to imply that the girl ended up choosing Wonho instead. Now this is an interesting detail because if you look closely, Mingyu here seems to be associated to the negative sides that this love confession might actually entail. If in the booth we see him eventually dropping the phone, in the scene that he shares with Jun and Wooji we see that the setting is in disarray. This might be an indication that this is a change that could potentially bring destruction in their life. If the girl chooses to stay friends with them, their dream of love would be shattered and they might be left alone to pick up the pieces, but as Vernon and Dino's section foreshadows, it's already too late for them to go back because this love is already blooming. As we see in the 8th scene, their feelings grew ever since they met. Even if we still can see the friendship booth lingering in the background, the heart shows us that their feelings evolved into something different and now being friends is not enough anymore. So in the song, the boys make their own choice and take the risk of confessing their love. Much like what the lyrics tell us, the boys see their loved one as an escape. Their presence makes their life better and they know they could do the same in return. So in the song, 17 encourages the other person to take their hand and run away to the other side of the world. As I mentioned earlier, this concept is also expressed with the boys reaching out to the planet of love that this relationship has created, but the real giveaway that this love is giving them life can actually be found in the scene of the rain, where the boy stands as the girl herself stands under the falling water. Now, since the entire video is filled with flowers that the boys themselves are associated with, them dancing under the rain might symbolize the idea that this love is literally nurturing their growth. Since their loved one gives them purpose, the boys are like flowers in the rain who are both overcome by this feeling but also nurtured by it. So even if the song ends before knowing the girl's final choice, we know that this love has changed them and that their dream of love continues on. Now, before I end this video, I would also like to take a look at all the possible ways Ready to Love might actually be connected to the Hive multiverse, because even if 17 seem to be doing their own thing, this latest concept also seems to be developing a storyline that may or may not be connected to the multiverse as a whole. Now, in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, the Hive multiverse is the unofficial name that is given to the shared narrative universe that connects the groups under the label through similar themes, imagery, and plot points. BTS, Tomorrow by Together, and ENHYPEN are all part of it, and before they disbanded, GFriend had a lot of elements in common as well, and even if for now there is no official confirmation about New East, their concepts share similarities as well. Now, since up until now 17 never truly had an ongoing storyline, the idea of them being part of the multiverse seemed to be weak at best, but with Power of Love, Bittersweet, and Ready to Love, the possibilities that 17 might be in the process of developing a storyline is stronger than ever. As of right now, this is just speculation, of course, but if this storyline will continue in the future, this might imply that 17's story might also be connected to the stories told by the other groups of the label, and the reason why I think that is mainly connected to the presence of the cat as well as the spherical structure that looks like a planet. As I mentioned before, if we consider the cat in the context of the concept that is portrayed in the video, then this symbol might represent the hope and affection that they feel towards their loved one, as well as their desire for a rebirth in relation to their changing relationship. If we consider the cat as a part of the multiverse, however, this figure might also have a completely different role, because in both BTS and Tomorrow by Together storylines, the cat is an entity that is very important in the unfolding plots. You see, in both cases, the cat is a character that can appear in different sizes, different shapes, and different colors, and this is an entity that shows up every time that the characters are experiencing a moment of struggle that they seem unable to overcome. Much like in 17's video, the cat always appears when the characters are either dreaming or in a fantasy world that they themselves created, and in both storylines, Jin and Yeonjun make a pact with this cat that has terrible consequences. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is not only because this cat is associated to the dream world, but also because this is an entity that is heavily connected to the characters making a choice. In both cases, the characters face a decision that will eventually change their life forever, so in the case of 17, this reference might actually be very fitting, because the whole point of Ready to Love is them actually choosing to confess their love and change their life for good. Another possible connection, however, might actually be the planet that we see in the video, because quite recently the multiverse as a whole is taking a cosmic turn. References to planets and space are becoming prevalent in ENHYPEN, BTS, as well as Tomorrow by Together, all of which reference this concept also in connection to the inner world of the dream. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in Ready to Love, this structure might be interpreted in different ways, but if this is indeed a planet, then this reference might be yet another clue that 17 could be joining the multiverse very soon. On top of that, your choice also features a song called Game Boy, and the video game concept that is portrayed in the lyrics might also be connected to the multiverse as well. This is a concept that is especially relevant in Tomorrow by Together's storyline, where the boys actually have game alter egos with different powers and different abilities, but this concept is also used in BTS and GFriend to describe an alternative world that can almost be compared to the dream. What's interesting about this is that in all of these cases, the game is a reality where people can reunite and interact even if in real life they're separated, and this is exactly what happens in Game Boy, where 17 play the role of game characters that interact with each other even if the real world is too dangerous to do so. These are all clues that point to the fact that 17 might be part of the multiverse as well, but to know if this will turn out to be true, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!